Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here. I'm calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. All right, this is going to be one of the first series of discourses. I'm going to be doing, try to do it bi-weekly or so. If you're interested, tell other people. If you think any of those people are interested, please give them the email. And the easiest way is to sign up on YouTube, friend me, and this way you'll get the links whenever they come out. Because I discarded my email list, I'm recreating a new one. Just too many problems. On LinkedIn, I had 3,500 followers, which I lost all of them. So this is for people, all right, that are really interested, ready to move forward in their life spiritually, not physically. This has nothing to do with the physical reality, even though there's things you need to do to help you get ready for the spiritual side of yourself and becoming aware. So I'm going to be getting into a lot of different topics. I'm going to try to stay within one topic each workshop that I do or discourse. So please sit down, relax. Any questions, please add it to the chat room. Please, I don't need comedy on this. I don't think spiritualism is funny. I don't think awareness is funny. And I think too many people think happiness and joy and all those words are what's important in life, which they're important in life, but they're not important in death. And I will explain all that. But please, I have a phone number. If you need to call me, please do. I'm on Skype. If you need to ask questions, you want to talk personally, that's a good place to do it to me. I don't like typing as much as I do rather talk. All right. So it's been a hard time. Lots of things going on the past 2 months. My partner broke a knee just 2 weeks ago and had family here. It was just so busy. And just last night, there was the biggest riot. I don't know whatever happened on my block. Police came around later. They came around 20 minutes later to see what was going on. But they never come when they need to be here. So I've been so busy. My UFO section is going to be separated completely. Trying to keep this up to the truth, to the highest truth, to the ultimate truth, to the things that are important in your growth in a spiritual way or your aware state. I mean, many people believe that they have all the knowledge they need or all the information they need. They believe what they believe in. And I'm going to say this from the start. I'm not going to be dealing with what you believe in. And it's not going to be about questions of, do I know the truth? I will give you the ultimate truth that I have experienced over my lifetime. I'm 69 years old right now. So please, nothing I say is make-believe, fantasy, stories taken out of somebody else's writings or talk. I don't agree with the very few people on this planet at any level, spiritual, religious, whatever, government-wise as well. They all have very little truth, understanding to what is really happening to the planet, to people, to reality, and where we're going. All right. And that all has nothing to do with God, nothing to do with spiritualism. Nothing, people. Aliens and UFOs and all those things have nothing to do with spiritualism. What people look forward to in the future is another lie to themselves. All right. Now, it's going to be complicated. It's going to be not what everybody perceives it to be. All right. The truth is never, ever what you want it to be. You can say, well, the truth is not that. The truth of what you think you know about things. And we'll start off step by step. What you believe about death, what you believe about reincarnation, what you believe about why you're here, why this, why that. All the programmed ideas you have been given are just that. Religions have fallen far away from the truth. If there was any truth to it, I can go into Buddhism, Christianity, all those words. Were they created as a religion or a teaching or just a way of life or understanding? The idea that it has to be a religion is a concept based on what? I mean, religion has a very short definition in the dictionary, but what is a religion? All right, without God, what is a religion? Absolutely nothing. What is a spiritual path without God? Absolutely nothing. What are these words? I'm one with the universe. What's that mean? Nothing if you eliminate God. So all these concepts are useless to help you become aware. Oh, I'm becoming aware of what? I will go into that a little bit, just to keep you on where we're headed, what's going to happen, what's going to go through. All these speakers out there that are talking about awareness, future awareness, dimensional levels, and higher awareness, your higher self, your true self. They're words to create an idea that you are not what you're supposed to be, that you can attain what you're supposed to be and become that. Then you can create what you want in your life. Well, the only thing you can create in your life, the only thing is family, money, fame, fortune, and pleasure. You can't create God, you can't create really spiritual truth or spiritual awareness, no matter what people tell you. You could be totally spiritually aware, which I don't know anybody on this planet, but totally aware at a higher level than 99% of the people on the planet. And where does it get you? Are you creating your reality? You can't. This is the bottom step of the ladder. I use the word hell. Religions have preached that for a long time. All right, that we're going to go to hell if we're bad. We don't do right things. What's right things? How do you learn what right things are? Again, there's so much to learn and do in this lifetime, and very few people want to take that step to get into it. Having a family, getting a great job, going on vacation has nothing to do with awareness. Thinking about chemistry, drugs, and medicine, all those words have nothing to do with awareness. What are you aware of? Living on this planet, how things work? Why? Do you really care how an atom lives and works and survives and what it does in your body? Is it going to help you do anything better? Now, sadly, the part of that science is trying to change that to a reality to make it important. And when you do that, you're taking control over natural things and trying to recreate and control them. And that's what government is, that's what religions are, is control. Cloning and all those words, genetic cloning and human cloning, animal cloning, crossbreeding creatures and animals, cloning, synthetic artificial intelligence, mixing it with reality of a being, of a real person. Japan has been working on cloning the brain to a chip a long time. Now they're going to be cloning it to animals as well. I guarantee, I'd say if the world was going to be around for another 10 years, they'll be trying to clone wings on a human. Why not fly? The only thing that everybody wants sometime in their life is to be able to fly without a plane. All right, imagine cloning a person with wings. Wardrobes would have to change. A lot of things would have to change. But I mean, if you watch the movie, a series on TV, Lucifer, and he had wings, and everybody had wings, and all that kind of stuff. But angels don't have wings, people. The only concept where that came from is in the beginning of time, because realize the first religion on this planet was animal worship. So worshiping birds and creatures and lions and tigers and all those things. It was about what they could perceive by what they saw. They could see a lion, they could see an elephant, they could see why in Hinduism, why elephants are a big part of it, monkeys are a big part of it, all these things, because that's what's around them. Now, creativity is going beyond what you actually see. Now, when you go into a dream, I'm not going to go into dreams much, that'll be a whole different discourse. But when you go into your dreams, you see realities. And if you're aware, you can go beyond that. Because the mind is a program. Picture your brain as your computer. And everything that's in your brain is downloaded. Every thought, every program is downloaded into your brain. I say this: everything you learn becomes a small wrinkle in the brain. So a baby's brain is smooth, where an elderly person's all wrinkly because it has all that program knowledge in it. Is it real? Is it important? It's programmed knowledge. If you think program knowledge is important, you really need to think again. If you think science is important, you really need to think again. I'm not going to go into cures or any of those words, I'll lose my sight. But check out when you think about what are you here for, what's the outcome, how long, and all those things. Science is trying to prove things. They prove things for 5 years, 10 years, and then they rearrange it. An egg's good for you this year, an egg's bad for you next year. 2 years later, oh, an egg's really important. Drinking's important if you have one drink of wine every day. Then they'll say coffee's good if you have one cup of coffee every day. They'll tell you things are good, then they'll say, oh, coffee's not good for you. Oh, then they'll say this. But science keeps changing because the truth is not touchable. Aspects of it are always there. Like you read the Bible. Parts of it have small bits of truth in it. 90% of it is not. Anybody that writes a story, how much is it of truth? When a person does a biography of somebody, how much do they know of that person? Do they know the inner core of the person's thinking and reality? Of course not. And then again, if you're not with the person 24/24, you don't know what's going on at nighttime. There was a Buddha, they called him Baby Buddha. He supposedly lived under a tree for 15 years and never ate. Great story. They went out there and filmed him for 2 weeks, but they were not allowed to see him at nighttime. What's that mean? Why not? If he's just sleeping, not doing anything, not moving, why not? Again, stories are created, things are created. Even the word levitation in the spiritual sense, I won't say that it didn't exist in Atlantis, because it was, and it was alive in Egypt as well. But who was doing it and why and all those kind of concepts? Does any of that have to do with spiritual awareness? Everything I'm going to be talking about, everything I mean about what you should be doing and aspects will be about you attaining spiritual awareness. I don't even say I'm spiritual. And for me, the definition of spiritual is leaving hell and going into the higher worlds. That's when you become spiritual, not before. I mean, I've been there. I traveled, but you don't stay there. You don't get to stay there until you let go of this body. So, I mean, people say, well, live in this and live in the moment, live in God, live in Jesus, live in spiritual, live in the universe. Are not real. You can't. The same as when the 10 Commandments were created. I mean, when you analyze them, they're not outdated. They're not harmful to the human race. But the idea that Sunday should be holy. Why would one day be holy? All right? Because mankind's not capable of doing anything for a long period of time. Never mind 7 days, 7 nights. One day, let's try to pick a day that you can sit back and relax and think and actually put God in the picture, Jesus, Moses, Buddha, whatever you want to put in that picture. At least focus on it. Because man can't focus constantly on anything. I mean, the most focused idea in a person's brain, especially men, is sex. Outside of that, what comes next? Hopefully, it's spiritual awareness. And how do we get there? And what's this all have to do with death and dying? We'll get into it. Because, like, I don't know if you got this part of it. I don't think I had room to fit it on all the sites where I put everything. We're going to start at the very end and work backwards today. Death meaning the end of this planet, the end of your body, the end of being here. For how long? For what? We'll talk about that. Concepts of death, beliefs in death. What are the concepts of dying? Did you ever have a near-death experience? If you did, you understand that part of it. I had 5 directly. Each one of them opened up more doorways than the rest of them. All right? And the doorways that open take you further into things that you have no awareness of. And you're not going to get anybody else outside of this inner worlds to teach you what that means. Well, what about me? Well, I can only guide you and give you info that it can help you do these things and attain these things yourself. If you expect anybody, anywhere, to do it for you, it's not going to happen. It's impossible. You may believe a lot of things. I'm going to have to take one split second here. I got to let my little guy out. Hold on. All right, I don't know if you saw a picture on the screen or not when I blocked it out for a second. That's called a burning bush that I shot. I shot it out in California. That's my burning bush. All right, people, we're going to go into this step by step. I'm not going to try to jump forward too much. I do have a lot of problems with my brain since I was born. Like I reverse things and all kinds of super high ability to stay within one thought, never mind to stay in one action. All right. HD. I can't even remember letters. HDST. I have to look it up. I'm just so bad with words and numbers and things like that. Names, forget it. I can't memorize names. Can't memorize things like that. Or I don't relate to it. I relate to an image, a face, and a structure. But all right, death. All right, let's start. Definition of death. What does it mean? What does it really mean? It's death of what? All right, you're born in a body, this body that you're in. You can maintain it for a maximum of 125 years. All right, I don't even believe the time frames that they talked about in the old days. The calendars were different. I mean, they didn't even have a leap year and all those kind of things. But then again, it was different time frames. Who invented 24 hours, 24 minutes, 2 hours, 12 hours, any kind of time frame like that? Years, what kind of years, what they BC, after Christ, before Christ, and all those kind of words that create time. But in caveman time, what do you think? They were living by 24-hour time frames? They saw the sun come up, they saw it go down. Well, there's a certain amount of time, but it changes. Days get longer, days get shorter. So would that change a day from when it starts to end to begin to? It's all about man's created ideas to keep their own structure for their own belief system. If you were a farmer in the early days, before time and stuff, when you dealt with time, you got up when you could see. You didn't have flashlights, so you got up when the sun came up. When the moon was out, you could go hunting at night. A lot of hunting was done at moonlight. So the things that were existent changed greatly because of man's ego. Death was always there. People always died. People were always born. How long did a person live? Really, the maximum is 125 years. One of the oldest people died about 2 or 3 months ago. They were 120. All right. Some people could say they're 150, 180, but there's no proof of that in any way or any structure. All right. So living to 125, if you're 75, you're pretty much closer to the end part of your life than the beginning. Like 1 to 50, you're in the prime of your life up till probably, depending on how you keep your body. Well, I was never a person completely controlling the inner workings of my body. I was always worried about the outer workings of my body. I mean, my diet was always horrible. I lived on sugar and salt most of my life. I lived on steak and potatoes like at least half of my life. I'd have roast beef for lunch and steak for dinner. I'm just giving you the guidelines to what and how I got to where I am. Because the 125 years will come quick. And after, I have to admit, after 60, time increasingly gets faster. And it sounds strange, but it does. I mean, I could close my eyes and I say, oh, it's Friday again. Open my, oh, it's Saturday. Oh, it's Friday again. The weeks go so fast as you get older. You know, when you do things over and over, they become less significant or they don't seem the same. If you drive the road the first time, wow, it took me forever. You drive it every day for the rest of your life, it just becomes, well, You know every object and everything, so you know how fast, and it seems faster. Time doesn't really change, or does it? The human body gets older, and that changes. I mean, you're a little baby, and now you're an old man. Your body's falling apart. All right. So time affects death completely. Food affects your life, and that means it affects your death. But you could be on a perfect diet, perfectly healthy body, exercising, all those things. You go outside and get hit by a car. So did it help any? Jesus said it's not what you put in your body, it's what comes out. And there's a lot of interpretations of that. And ask somebody, well, what's it mean? Well, what words come out of my mouth? What actions come out of me? What body products come out of my body? I mean, all those things are part of that. So what goes into you is what comes out. Okay, what you do is what reflects upon you as soul. Meaning, every day, for the time that you're here, creates a word conditioning that affects karma. Karma is probably the most dangerous, important word that you have to deal with all your life. Because every action, everything you do, will affect that greatly. All right. And by that, all right, when you go out to get a job, what kind of job are you looking for? Just to make money? Or to be part of a society, to be a beneficial part of society? All right. Where are you going? So all these things determine how much karma you're going to create in your lifetime. You're going to die. And karma from past lives do affect your length and time on this reality in this world. So if you have a lot of heavy karma, affects the way you're going to live this whole lifetime. I mean, if you have very little karma when you die and you come back, you have a lot more chances of coming back into your family and starting all over. Not that you're going to be an aware being when you come back into your family, not that you're going to be able to talk to them like you know them. All right, the little connection that you do have, if you reincarnate back into your family, is very little. Is it even worth it? We're going to get into that because that's part of dying, and basically coming back again. Well, we will talk about reincarnation greatly in detail under that word. But dying is getting to the point when you're on your last breath and you see yourself leaving. All right? I mean, it could be in a dream state when you leave and you don't know that you died. And it's a different experience than if you see your head getting cut off. You know, you're still alive for a couple seconds. I don't even, it's just horrible. It's just things that could happen. But Manokani, they do that with the heads and all that stuff. It's really crazy. But here's the thing, people. What you're holding on to is what? The 5 passions of the mind, the things that the mind, all the 5 senses of the brain that make you think everything's important. All right? Now, I'm not going to go into them in detail. We'll go into them specifically one time. But what they each do and how they affect you, what they make you think and believe and feel. Feelings lie. Love is a liar to you and to the person you're with. All right? That'll be a separate topic. All these topics will be separate. I'm not going to try to put them together, which I usually do, because it doesn't work. And you don't or won't get as much as you need out of the specific topic. Dying is this body that you're in that will stop moving. Dust to dust. I mean, you go back into dust, turn into dust, and go back into the ground. But that's not you. You are not the body that you're looking at in the mirror. You are not that. Oh, I see it. That's me. That's who I am. No, it's not. If you go outside, get in your car, start it, and drive, is that car you? You come back home, get out of the car, and you ask your friend to borrow his car and drive his car. Is that you? No. It's called transportation. The body is only transportation for the soul in this reality at the vibration it's in. And that'll change. And I'm not going to go into that. See, I'm just breaking it down to the different ways we're going to get into different talks, but one at a time, and we'll try to get you understanding the main part of what dying is and what death really is. All right. When you start getting sick, you start realizing your body's dying. At that point, you think, what didn't I do? What should I do? What can I do? If you told you got 10 days to live, 5 days to live, or 1 year to live, are you ready?
I've been ready this whole time.
Shut up. Phone's talking to me, really. So, are you ready? Are you ready for what? Ready to live? Ready to die? What do you expect are programs? What you think are programs until you experience it. And there's many ways to experience all that before it happens. And you should at some level. Each thing that you're going to experience, all right, that you're going to go through is an opening to be aware and learn about awareness, about death. Because and Buddha even said it, every second brings you closer to death. You should be thinking about that always. But if you're thinking about it always, guess what? You're eliminating the present and what you could be doing instead of thinking. Sitting there praying all day to what? I'm not going to get into religions about that, but I'll stick to the two that I have to deal with, mine and my partners. My partner is a Buddhist. Understanding Buddhism is pretty critical when you try to compare it to any other religions that you think you know. They all have their limitations, what they can help you with and what they can't, what you make believe that they can or what you conceive that they do help you with. When you die in bed, save me, protect me, don't let me die. That's not going to happen. And you get a reprieve for 10 days, 10 years. What? Is that beneficial? Are you going to do something totally outrageous in the next 10 years? If you were going to die today and you get another 10 years of your life, what are you going to do with those 10 years? Try to enjoy myself. Life is not about enjoyment, even though man perceives that. Now, I'm going to just go into a couple things. I'm aware of all my lifetimes back to Atlantis. And Atlantis was the only time, any time in history, that planet Earth, a part of planet Earth, was in complete harmony. Peace and all those words. You didn't have to talk if you didn't want to. You could just look at a person and know what they're asking you or thinking, and they would understand what you're thinking and saying. You couldn't lie. You couldn't steal. You didn't. You respected all life, plants, animals, and everything. Mankind didn't. The human race did not eat animals. All right, at that time frame. So life in the being programmed with ideas. What does it really mean? It means you're stuck in the matrix, which I like the word since the movie came out. Kind of that's where you really are. Until you take a step out of that, I mean, which pill you want to take. All right. The average pill is to get you high or to save you from pain. But is it about spiritualism, growth? Why ask and all the drugs that people do try to help them attain something different than what they're trying? Hallucinating without guidance is not beneficial either. So all these steps to prepare yourself for life or death is what? Beneficial to what? To who? And why? Money is the root to all evil. Money is the only thing you need in this reality to survive. So if you went to a desert or a jungle, it'd be a lot easier to live in the jungle than the desert. But eating is the number one thing you have to do. Every creature, every entity, everything in a body needs to eat. So money is important, especially if you can't just take things. In Hawaii, people move here so they can go on the streets and take food from trees and everything that are everywhere and not work. But in reality, what are we doing? What are we attaining? Well, I want to become the best doctor, the best this, the best what, best meaning what? You brainwash people to think you're the best of what? What you do? Who's the best of what they do? Other than talk and condition and program people's thinking. People like Dr. Phil. He does a lot of talking, he does a lot of work, but does he really solve problems? Oprah does a lot of talking and a lot of things. Does she solve problems? I mean, we're still talking about words like prejudiced, all right, which has nothing to do with life and death, all right, has nothing to do with karma. I mean, well, I was born black, I have problems. I was born native, I have problems. I mean, you could accept the problem or not, but you're in a temporary house. When you're moving from one house to the other, you're in a temporary house. But so what? You need a roof over your head. If it's cold, you need something to protect you from the cold, rain, or whatever. But does it have to be a permanent thing? Of course not. So when people talk about, well, I have a nice house now, so you can't grow any further than that? That's where you got to stay, live, and die? All right. Dying is probably one of the least things people want to think about or talk about because they're afraid of it. And why are they afraid of it? They've been programmed and they see things without any experience. You see a person get hit by a car, they died. See a person get sick, they died. Does it help you understand dying? Oh yeah, you're gone. You're no longer in existence. Oh, but I hope and I pray that soul goes somewhere, or that it's real, that it didn't die, or you want to believe that it goes to heaven. How much do you know? Does it go to heaven? Do you understand that it does? And what's that mean? Does everybody really go to heaven? It's concepts that are programmed into people. Until you learn to travel outside of this body, can you understand a true definition of death of the body? Soul, you, what you really are, you can't say your higher self or your whatever, because it's you, and it has always been you. Nobody else, just you. All the bodies you take, all the reincarnation, everything you did it's still just you. You right there. Who you are. Look in the mirror. That's not you. That's what you drive around in. But if you do a form of meditation, you can see what you really look like as soul. At whatever level that you are, awareness changes. And so does the shape and look and form of your body. It's still you. I mean, higher awareness doesn't change anything other than what people perceive you to be or look like. And you can change that. But I don't want to go into that yet. When you die, your soul looks much like you. Except it's not solid. You can stick a fork through it, you can stick a sword through it, you can burn it, freeze it. Nothing happens to it. So in that way, it's not solid like the body is. You can't cut a soul's hand off, can't cut a soul's head off, can't do any of those things. So it's much different what you really are than what you perceive yourself to be or programmed to be. While you're alive, you got fingers, you breathe, and all those kind of things. You got to drink water to survive and all those kind of things. Soul doesn't. Soul doesn't need to eat. Soul doesn't need any of those things. And that's only the next level when soul dies here, all right, and goes into the next world, which is called the astral plane, all right, which people should know that that's heaven, if they can get there. Not all souls go to heaven. Most souls don't stay there. And that's what most people don't know. Religions don't talk about it because most people in religions have never experienced it. I mean, dreaming is one thing. Experiencing it another is a second thing that's much more important. Not having an experience of death, meaning stepping out of the body, you don't get that awareness. You don't understand it. You can't. The same as you can't understand God at any level until you experience something about it. Oh well, it sits there and it's we're created in its image. No, we're not. Not at any level. We'll never be as aware of what of God itself is. We'll never be as great as God is. We'll never be able to do anything that God does at any major level. But you will get a chance to create your own world, which you will be working with. You will be the God of that world. But that's a long way down the road, and that's after you get past the astral plane. The astral plane, where you go if everything's right when you die, when this body dies, and you got to step out of it, that body comes out of this and goes somewhere, goes to the astral plane. At that point, it'll have many choices. Uh, Not the choices you want to think you have, but choices that you will be given. How old do you want to be? When you're there, you can pick any age you want, which you'll stay at. And most people pick anywhere between 26 and 36 years old. Some people go there and be a child. Some people go there and be an old person. But because they're unaware, they don't have complete awareness yet. You don't go somewhere to be old. You don't go somewhere to be young. Why? It's like saying, I want to go tour Russia, but I want to be 2 years old. What good would it do? Or you want to be 100 years old when you go tour Russia. Is that going to be exciting, fun, or anything? See, you would pick an age that you would assume that would work and flow with the energy that's there and be able to attain something from it, growth and awareness, than whatever you have. So when you go there, pick 26. It's a good age. And you're aware. See, soul in itself has its own awareness, not relating to the mind. But what happens is the soul has to work within the mind, and then it gets slapped into that program, which causes it to the desire and the words attachment and all those words that relate to the five senses of the body, which makes it want to come back. Oh, this was good. That felt good. I want to do that. I told you we'd never have sex again. Would you want to go there? You never had to eat again. Would you want to eat that and be there too? See, the things that we would hear or experience or know kind of make it a little harder for you to desire to do it. All right. Now, family, which most people are so attached to, is the desire to come back, to be with family, the desire to be with the family while you're alive. All right. But you're not going to be with them forever. Sure, you might live to see your children grow old, or maybe not. Are you prepared to say goodbye to them at any age? A year from now, 10 years from now? Your wife's pregnant and you die. Is it going to help her? Of course not. See, she's already attached. She's already got programs and things running in her world that lock her into a situation. Relationships do cause you a lot of karma. Usually bad, not good. But to them separately, like child abuse. In relationships, understanding what we're here for and all those things. It's much more critical than anybody ever talks about. Oh, well, you need a good job. You need a nice house. They don't talk about much of anything else, do they? I want to be a scientist and invent what? A nuclear bomb? A new one? A new space shuttle? Is that going to help anybody attain a greater awareness of God? It is not. An awareness of death? It is not. So, when we talk about death, getting back to 125 years, assume the first 20 years you're doing all your learning. You made it to school, made it to grammar school, grade school, college. Do you usually get the 4 years in college? Probably not. But what did grade school teach you? Nothing. What did high school teach you? Nothing. Well, I learned how to spell. I didn't. Learned how to do add, addition, and I explored the world. How many people can name all the countries, states, capitals, and all those words? They can't. So it didn't help you with that much, did it? But when it comes to trigonometry and algebra and all that stuff, what does it help you to do in the real world? Very few jobs require any of that knowledge. So all the stuff they're stuffing in your brain is for a reason, but not the reason you want. I mean, people don't talk about that. People don't talk about anything pertaining to the truth that goes outside what we are programmed to believe and accept. Like right now, the Constitution, I'm not going to go into it. It's a lie. It was created for a different reason than what we expect it to be. And we wanted to fit into our reality. Ten Commandments was created for a reason, but not to fit in what mankind wants it to mean. Love's never mentioned in the Ten Commandments because love didn't exist. Whether people want to know that or not, love did not exist for infinity. After Atlantis went down, love was completely stripped out of this universe. And women became the sacrificial lamb. And I'm not making this stuff up, people. All through history, women were never free. And in a marriage, in a relationship, whatever they had, they were always the slave in it. I mean, even the idea of them not voting. Why? Why can't they vote and you can? I mean, I'm not going to go into I'll just say a few things. Religions have some really strange things that they got to do. Like in the Jewish religion, the girl has to be a virgin. In the Hasidic Jewish religion, they have to prove it. These things are so outrageous to me. You could accept it as your faith. You could accept a lot of things. China, sacrificing your children because you can't have two girls. I mean, things like that. It was accepted. I've been getting hundreds of calls a day. Ridiculous calls that I don't answer. But, where we're going in our reality is pretty bizarre. But when we're dealing with relationships and death, you're going to feel bad. If you weren't in a relationship with anybody and you were dying, it wouldn't probably affect you the same way as if you have 5 children. What about people who have 2 wives, 3 wives? In other countries, they do. I mean, even in the United States, there's a show on TV about people that live like that as well. I mean, you can get away with it in some states, and most states you can't. But where does that get you in reality when you die? Does it help you? More families, more children? Does it help you in any way? All right, let's just play a little game. I just died. Okay, now what? What happens? You get to say goodbye to your children, you get to say goodbye to your families. Now, when your body is deteriorating, as it's laid in the ground or whatever, burnt up, whatever, soul's there. Soul's you. That's who you are now. And you're not fully aware of what's going on. You're probably totally brain dead of what's going on. Now what happens? Do you have any awareness of death? Any perception or can actually help you move forward? Well, I don't really die. So what's that mean for you? Well, you tell yourself you're not dead. All right, now what? Well, I can reincarnate. Why? Who said so? How do you prove it to yourself? Well, I was told, you were told what? Heaven? You're going to meet your family? They're all sitting there waiting for you to come there to talk to you? The beliefs of death are so scary. They're a lot more scary than the reality of it is. Because they're all lies. You're not going to meet your family. Soul itself keeps moving forward. Or tries to. If it's locked in a program, it doesn't go very far. It will never leave the astral plane. All right, and there's many worlds beyond that they just get 1,000 times better at each level. I explain it this way: there's 9 basic realms. Each one has 3 within them. The Earth has 3 realms. When they say first, second, and third dimension, no, it's not that way. Basically, that was created for drawing. I mean, a flat figure, then you put dimension to it, and then you actually build like a cardboard box that has shape, dimension. All right. Then the 4th dimension, when you go beyond that. 5th dimension, 6th dimension. There's 12 dimensions if you want to go by dimensions. But the realms, there's 3 realms or 3 realities within each. All right. When they're creating something like CERN, CERN, ... between them, they're trying to go through and create a black hole to go through this dimension. And they create a suit and all these things to do what? We want to do things to make us think we're better. We always think we need to be better. Why better? Why not be who and what you are? What makes you better? What makes you the best? Well, when you run faster than everybody else, jump higher than anybody else. All right, does that make you any better? Now, as you get closer to death and you're noticing you're breathing a little more, oh, I got fresher air. I got a fresher air. When it starts hurting, you can't even do that. Get the virus, you can't breathe. And things like that, you'll notice a difference. And suddenly, death is on the table now in your world. I can die. But what does it mean? Why would God create sickness for people to die? Think about it. That's not talked about much either. These topics that are critical to understand are never talked about. Got a lot of many diseases down here. Imagine you didn't get sick. Well, Native people usually didn't get sick and die. They died in more simple ways. Falling off a horse, getting stampeded by a herd of buffalo, having something fall on them, get hit by lightning, things like that. They didn't have all the sicknesses that we have. I'm not going to get into that, but Native people always had a cure. The cure for something's always right near wherever you live. I mean, if you're in the forest and or other countries in the mountains, wherever you are, whatever sickness that dwells there, there's a cure for it. I'm not saying you can't bring things from one place to another, which is what the human race does. Hawaii brought mongoose to Hawaii to eat rats. All right? Rats eat at nighttime, mongoose eat during the day, so they never get to see each other. So it was a useless thing. But now they're like squirrels everywhere. When I lived in Jersey, we had squirrels everywhere. But you see mongoose everywhere. Go to the beach and you're laying down, they'll come try to steal your food and run away with it. Kind of like a raccoon when you go camping. Animals need food. That's all they think about. They're not thinking about dying. Not thinking about how many children they have. They're thinking about eating or feeding their children. So it's always a matter of survival is the number one word, if you want a word, is all life is about. In this body. Now, imagine you didn't have to eat. What would survival mean to you? It would mean incredible things, but what are you going to do to attain anything better? You're on the airplane, you're not going to be looking to build a boat or build a plane or any of those things. What do you got to do? Why don't people talk about what and what you really are becoming? All right. The one with the universe. What's that going to help you when you die? You're on your dying bed. Oh, I'm one with the universe. I know everything. You know what? You know nothing. The universe isn't a knowing object. Comets, meteorites, are residue of things that exploded or whatever. They're not life forms. I mean, even when they said life form was on a meteorite that had crashed into the planet, and that's how we got here. I'm not saying Adam and Eve or any of those stories were real, because they're not. We'll get into that sometime in the near future, how the human race got here. how human races got here, how aliens got here, how all those things. But each one needs its own day. All right. I want to stick with this topic the best I can. All right. Death is going to come to you. It could come to you when you're 40. It could come to you when you're 80. It could come to you when you're 120. And basically, it's based on karma, not whether you fell or you tripped. Your karma will determine something has to happen. Things have to be paid. You go to the store, you pick up a loaf of bread, you got to pay for it. Whatever you do is paid for in some form, some way. Paid for already or has to be paid for in the future. Create too much karma, there's no way you can pay it off in this lifetime. It's like saying, well, I bought a hotel, then I bought 10 hotels, and I bought 20,000 cars. You're not going to be able to pay for it, are you? But you're not going to get to keep them either. So what you think you attain in a lifetime is a dream, story, a fantasy. Well, I'm going to heaven. Well, do you even know anything about it? How do you know you're there? Now, I'm going to tell you this. This is something nobody can talk about. So why am I? Because I'm telling you the truth. I experienced it. All right. When we think we know everything, we're going to do this and that. Nobody can really tell you what's really going on. I mean, they'll say this is happening or that's happening. We're going in the right direction. You're doing the right thing. What's that have to do with anything? But when you die, are you still here? See, psychics deal with energy. When a soul dies, here's the part that I'm going to tell you that nobody else talks about. Psychics can. All right? When you die, your residue energy of you stays here. I'm not going to explain because I don't know, but it stays here. All right? I worked with a top psychic when I was young for years and all that stuff, but it stays here. Or when you go to a psychic, oh, I see your family because it's within your energy. All right? And that's how they pick it up. Even over the phone, I mean, I'm not saying I can do all those things. I worked with them for a short period of time. I worked with 32 psychic abilities exist. I worked with 30 of them. And the 2 I wanted, I never even got close to attaining them. But getting back to when you die and somebody's talking to you about it, and they're saying, well, they're talking to your family. All right. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you this, and I know it for a fact. I experienced it. I worked with it. If a person, meaning you, are talking to your father, talking to your mother, talking to your brother, sister that died, it only means one thing. And this is, nobody's going to say it to you. Nobody wants to admit it or can or will. They didn't attain any spiritual level. They didn't attain awareness. When you die, doesn't make you an angel. It doesn't make you a super being. It doesn't make you anything other than what you are as a soul, which you are right now. It doesn't change. So you don't become super psychic abilities and could raise mountains for people in your family and do all those kinds of things. You're not an angel. You're not here to help other people or the rest of your family. You can't. All right? You can try. But you're not able to do those things unless you didn't go to the astral plane and stay there. All right? Because if you're here, you got to be here to talk to somebody. Not, they're here because they're talking to you. All right? Not in the physical body. Their soul is stuck between realms. Well, they're watching over you. They can't watch over you. They're not God. They're not super beings. Well, you can say things because you were programmed to believe that angels help you, that your mother and father help you, and all these things. Do they help you ever really? 1 out of 10 things? Why aren't they helping you all 10 things? Well, I didn't have a car crash today, but my plane crashed yesterday. I mean, you could say a lot of different things. Why did they help you with one thing? Because the brain tries to make something fit. And a lot of times it won't fit, so they can't make it fit into that. All right. Your father, your mother who's deceased, brother, sister, you're not going to stop a train from hitting your house or a plane crashing on you, a meteorite hitting you, or anything outrageous. They can't do it. Sure, you can be given insight. Soul, which is the second part of that, is between time. Soul lives in three realities, past, present, and future, at the same time. Meaning it sees the past, it sees the future, not forever, but short frames of it. So I'm going to give you the most important technique you can probably use in your lifetime. Like I said, I'm not going to know how much time I do a show with. I'm going to only I don't write things down. I'm doing this for facts that I know. I'm not going to go over my past writings. I could go on, read all that over, but it's different energy right now. It always changes. But a technique you need to learn, very important. All right. You're walking down it. I'll use the simplest one I can come up with. You're walking down the street with your child. Your child's 8 years old. You're 40. You're walking down the street, coming up to a corner. You're in New York City. All right. The light turns red. You usually stop. Light turns green. You usually start walking. All right. You look, and your child didn't see the light change, and it walks out into the street. You got a few options. Stop your child. Hope your child's fast enough to run across the street. Whatever the situation is. All right. But what do? Now, you listen to yourself as soul. Not your mind, not ego. Now, there's two things that talk to you. Your mind and soul. But in any emergency, you need to know that you can listen to soul. Soul will be your protection, not God, not angels. You are. And whether you want to talk to God, talk to yourself. Well, you are, and you need to. Because soul is looking before and after a situation as it's happening. They could see the car coming. They could see that it's going to hit you if you run out in front of it. They could see all those things. Now, when that says to the brain, hey, something's going to happen, does the brain believe what it's being told? It doesn't. So, in any situation, you're walking towards this corner, you got your child, he's running out into the street, your mind's going to say this. Grab him, let him run across the street. Okay, there's two things. One's going to say one thing and one's going to say another. Now, there's only two ways to translate it. One, whatever you hear first, like stop him, grab him. If you hear that first, and then you say, well, let him run across the street. The second one, all right, one of them is going to be real and one of them is not. Now, it's going to take you 1 or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4, maybe a couple of days to realize which one of the things that talk to you are important over the other. Meaning, they will always be the same. The first thing that comes to you will either be your soul or your mind. So whichever one that is, obviously the second one will be the opposite. But you need to learn which one is which. Most people, and for the actual reason is, the sooner you do something, the safer it will be. The first thing you hear will always be the right step. Most of the time, for most people. The second one will be the mind interpreting, well, let him run across, he can make it, or whatever. By the programmed ideas that it has. Now, you're going to need to work with this. Seriously, it is important to do this or know this. Give yourself a week, at least, to make sure you know what's talking to you and what's not. What's right and what's wrong. Listen to the first thought. Everything you do for the whole week. Write down a little note every day. Good thing, bad thing, good thing, bad thing, good thing. Then the second week, listen to the second thought. Well, hurry up and run. No, take it easy. Just stop. And then take it easy. Do the second thought that comes to you. There's always two. Mind and soul always are at battle. But after a couple weeks or even 1 week, you'll know which one's telling you the right thing to do. Mind can only base it on programmed ideas. Soul's looking forward and backwards at the time frame that you're in and knows the difference. I mean, everybody gets nudged. Well, I was told not to do that, but I did it. Or I should have listened. And they don't. Because they don't know to. And they don't know that it's right. Remember, you have to find out which one's right, though. You don't always want to listen to the mind because you're going to end up in dead or in serious problems. Where you'll be a lot safer, a lot more protected. But you still have karma, and you got to pay that off. So there's two things you got to work with, your karma and soul, that you are. I promise you, I put my life on the line for that. It is as important as anything else you do in your life. Because at any given moment, that will be what you need to save your life. If you can. Your karma could be really bad for a situation that's happened and you have to die. But basically, if it's below karma, meaning it's not exact karma that you have to pay, you can get the answers. And soul will give you the right answer. Soul's not God. But soul is aware of past, present, and future in the moment. And that's what you are. That soul, that is that. But you're in this body. Your car has a car battery that makes it run, not you. So what's making the brain, making the body run, is still not you. I mean, you work with it. I turn on my computer and I'm talking to it, but I'm not the computer, and it's not me. Sorry about the noise. But it's a simple technique. Work with it for at least 1 week or 2 weeks. Even if you don't listen, know what it was, and then see what the event happens or what happens after what you were told to do or not do. I mean, you get a job and say, "Well, I'm supposed to go for this interview," and then someone says, "No, you don't want that job." And then see, if you don't understand the thing that how it would affect your body and your life. Karma is related to everything you do, the jobs you take, being a bartender. I'm not going to tell everybody things are bad, but they're not beneficial either. What you do to other people is definitely karma. Affecting anybody else's life is karma. Okay, now I'm going to throw one thing at you right now. One spiritual law. The most important spiritual law in the physical reality, which is the law of non-interference. You have no right, and this is a fact, whether you want to accept it or not, to interfere in anybody else's life unless you're invited into it. I'm not saying you're going to do it or you're going to follow it by any means, but that is a spiritual law. Go against it, and you can create a lot of karma. Like Twitter, LinkedIn, and all these companies that think they can control what you say, like they know what's right or wrong. I got blocked in LinkedIn. I got blocked on YouTube. I'm in AOL. I got blocked on that as well. But do you know the difference? Do you have the awareness of that? What it really means and things? It's critical. Preparing for dying is important. Have your house kept in a way that hopefully things will run all right after you die. Whether you're going to be here or not, at least give your family insurance and things. Say, well, you should have insurance. You should. Because if you die tomorrow, what do they have? If you're the worker, what do they have? Little things like that are critical because you created it. You created the karma that you're dealing with. You got 10 kids, you're going to have a lot of money that you're going to be responsible for leaving them when you die. But see, being of the effects of that karma that you create before you die is very important in life. Don't get married, don't have a family. The only one you're accountable to is yourself. All right, so what you do in life is as important as what you do in death. But what you do in life determines how much karma you're creating. And the more karma you create, the less chances you have of staying in the next realm. Meaning you'll get to go to the astral plane anywhere between 5-10 years and then reincarnate. And you will reincarnate. Most people have to reincarnate. Well, I don't have to, but I could choose where I come. No, you can't. People say that. They're not aware of all their other lifetimes. Ask them how many lifetimes they remember. Sundar Singh, wrong name, Sai Baba, was supposed to predict every time he comes back in life. But the last death he had, which was a couple of years ago, he had to go to the hospital and he died in the hospital. But he didn't tell anybody when he was coming back. So, when you have these ideas that you got to do these things and these are the right things, are you set up for things to happen that could interfere with that? If you die, how do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? Do you want to what? What are you willing to do? What do you want to have your family suffer or not? Do you want them to keep your ashes? I mean, all these things, all ties to keep them attached to you. But you're no longer here. Sure, you can love a person that's gone and all that, but they're not helping you in this reality. They're not going to send you a check every week. They're not going to fix your leaky faucet or any of those things. So life changes based on karma. I mean, some people with good karma have a pretty decent life. People with bad karma have a really bad life. But if you don't care about leaving this realm, you don't care about karma. And you don't need to. I don't know the words I can use here, but I always trying to tell my cousin about karma, who died a couple of months ago. You can come back and do it all over. Oh, you mean I could do all these things, sexual things, and do this and that, and come back and do it all over again? See, there's no awareness there in that statement, no awareness in growth, but it's a reality. Yes, you can. But when you come back, your condition's going to probably be a lot worse, that's not even going to be able to happen. So karma is a critical word. Soul is what you are. And you need to understand how karma is created by soul. The mind does things, but when you allow it to happen, then it's karma. Mind can only do what it's programmed to do, or what it knows. I mean, the mind can say, I'm going to fly, but it can't, can it? It can say a lot of things, but it can't do it. When we have psychic abilities, which I had them all, not all, a few, two I didn't, but when you can do things and see things, does it make things better? I will tell you this, and no psychic is going to tell you that. It's an invasion to this reality. It goes against the law of non-interference. Well, psychics only go read people that come to them. I had 5 psychics within 1 year. All came to me. They all went beyond breaking the boundaries, and they're psychic, and they should know the boundaries and how far they can go, that had to talk to me directly without me asking them for help. All right? I'm not going to get into that. But basically, whatever your path is, you need to stay within the boundaries of what you know is the truth. Not what they say it is or what other people tell you it is. I mean, guns and things like that. The right to carry a gun. Who gave you that right? Another man with a twisted ego. Nobody has the right to kill somebody. Nobody. I mean, even that's not an accepted thing. There would be no war if that was true. Moses wouldn't have came up the mountain and killed people if he'd listened to what he was preaching. He wouldn't have brought people to a place where they were going to slaughter everybody that was there either. The truth that happens from people that think they have the truth is horrible. So, again, people, I don't know if anybody is even trying to get into the chat room. Like I said, it's a different time, different thing and everything. Everybody might be in the middle of their day and stuff. But it is recorded, so you can watch it or anytime. or give it to somebody else to watch anytime now. I'm in YouTube, so it will be up. Hopefully, I didn't say anything bad today that will tear it down. But people, life is an experience, good, bad, or indifferent. But it's a short experience within a frame that never ends. So it's eternal. And that doesn't mean a thing unless you can experience your past and present while you create your future. Knowing all the things that you did to create karma is a beneficial thing in this reality. Not knowing it, I'm walking down the street and a car plows into me. That's karma. Why? Well, I don't have no karma. I'm a good person. Everybody thinks they're a good person. Most families in this world abuse their children without awareness of even knowing how, when, where, or why. Because they're not aware. So there's just so much to learn. I'm going to try to give you answers to a lot of things that can help you along the way to do what you need to do. Understanding yourself. Not telling yourself you're the greatest gift to God or things like that. But God's protecting you. God's not protecting you in this reality, people. This reality, planet Earth. Your soul, that thing that you truly are, you're protected. You can't die. Cut your head off right now. You'd still be who you are. Just you wouldn't be allowed to drive around in this car no more. All right? So reality is so much different than people perceive it to be. But once you understand little things, it helps you grow greater in things you need to understand and grow within. And those things happen as you move forward. If you're on a true path. If you're not moving forward, you're not going to experience anything different. When you dream, sure, you're in a lot of the same dreams, but there's one point in the middle of the night where you have a lucid dream and you're learning your past lives or going over them and seeing things which drift into your physical reality. And that's important. Dream work is another thing we'll get into because it's really important. The body does things for reasons. Dreams are important for a reason. God didn't create junk. God doesn't create garbage for the word. We do. When we take something and abuse it, it becomes garbage. I mean, you go to a psychiatrist, did God tell you to kill somebody? What if God did? You'd be crazy. No. What did Moses do? He was saying he was listening to God. So the greatest people that are considered the greatest people did horrible things. Moses was the greatest black magician to ever live in our history. Well, I don't think so. He did this, what, feed some people? To bring them to another place to kill people? That's karma that they can't pay back. If you're a Christian, people, read the Bible. Okay. Read Revelations. Read it 5 times. It's short. It's not long. Read what St. John wrote. Read what he wrote about sins, which you think you can overcome and all these other words. Ask for forgiveness for. No. See, they didn't understand karma, even when John wrote that. But he did say what sins can't be forgiven. And what's that mean? Eternal hell? You're in it. And that's why reincarnation exists, people. But if you don't understand any of that, it's not going to help you get further along spiritually. If you believe praying's answering questions or solving the problems of the world, it's not. Man was programmed by a person who twisted things that he was told. Repeating things over and over, does it make it better? No, it makes people accept whatever they're saying. God saved the world. Did he? Will it? Meteorite hits, which has happened many times. It destroyed the reality. Dinosaurs are taken out. Different races were taken out. Why weren't they protected? They didn't know about Jesus. They didn't know about Buddha. They didn't know about God. There's a lot of different things. People believe they know one thing. They know what's important. unless you know about death, truly, reincarnation, and soul, you know nothing about life. All you know is having sex, drinking, partying, having children, and buying things. That's all you know. What else do you know? That you're going to die. How soon? Of what? I'm going to die. I don't care. I just don't want to die in my dreams. I think that would be the worst way to die. Because you'd be in a dream and you would never come out of it. I mean, you wouldn't know that you came out of it. It would take so long to really get that knowledge in your soul body to be aware of that. So there's things that I said I want to be in the worst pain for a short period of time. And I went through incredible pain because I asked for something really stupid. I'm not going to get into that either. But we're responsible for every action we do. If you hurt somebody, that's karma. You hurt anything, it's karma. Oh, karma, we could pay it back. No, you can't. A millionaire can't pay off his karma. A billionaire can't pay off his karma. A poor person can't pay off his karma. You got to pay it off yourself by what you do and what you create and where you move from where you are in the moment. Praying to save the world, change the world. What? To what? We never changed anything. We have become sicker over the past 50 years in what we're doing. Trying to clone animals and humans, recreating cyborgs, and super soldiers, all these words. Are they beneficial to the human race? Artificial intelligence is the worst form of intelligence. The latest article just said on the news, 400 Tesla cars had an accident. 4 people died. So does that mean we should stop using artificial intelligence? Well, Mr. Musk said we're 200% better than the human brain is. Already saying a machine is better than we are. You want to accept that? Ask a person, a computer, should you have a child? Or anything that might be important to you. Are they going to tell you what you should do? They're going to tell you what programs say. Well, we're overpopulated, shouldn't have children. I mean, whatever. It's going to be based on programmed ideas. I mean, my brother was a chemist, and he always said that there's certain things they can't program into a computer. I mean, into artificial intelligence, which they are, and they did, and they have done. So it's not like you can't program a computer not to believe in killing, because it does, and it will. So artificial intelligence that's being created, which even Musk said will be in full power within a very short time, will eliminate, I'd say, at least 80% of the jobs in our reality right now. What are you going to do then? One good job is fix robots, but what about when robots fix robots? What do they need you for? Anything. What do they need you for right now? Most people don't want to work in the fields or do any hard work. Let's take money from people online. That's the easiest job you can get. Yeah, but it's the most evil job you can get as well. So people, I hope you got something out of today. Preparing for death is not easy, but you should. Your family, worry, think about what you leave them. But you need to be aware of what happens after that. Where you're going, how you're going to get there, what do you do to do those things? That's going to be a whole separate issue as well, another talk. Like I said, I'm going to do word, stick with it for the whole time, and then we'll go into another word. Death is going to happen. The maximum you're going to see is 125 years, and you're lucky if you reach 100. Super lucky if you reach 100. Super real lucky in one way if you reach 125. Because if you're 125 years old, imagine what you're going to see. How many people in your family you're going to see die. You want to see your children die? You want to see your families die? I mean, that's up to you. You want to live longer than everybody and see everybody die? Is that what you want? Is that going to make you feel good? And when you're old, you can't do, well, you stay a little more healthy, but does that mean you could go on a lot more boat trips and plane trips and travel the world? Go around the world once. And what do you want to need to go around it for again? See, out of desire and pleasure. And the word pleasure comes from whatever a person creates as the word for pleasure for themselves. And words can program you into believing what's pleasurable. I mean, your father is telling the boys about sex or whatever. I mean, and somebody, I don't want to go into the drug part, but there's drugs and all drinking, all those other words. Oh, it's good, it's fun, it's this, and you believe it and you accept it. Remember what you do, every action is accountable to creating a wall of karma or to taking the wall down. And you always got the choice. Always. Whether you believe it or not. Even if your president told you out to kill, China said kill your children. Not directly, but get rid of your girls. And they did for many years. So people, any questions, please, I'll put it up, whether you want to see it or not. All right. Put it down there, it should be. Okay. I'll put my email address. And for Skype, all right, people, want to talk directly, go on Skype. I will talk. Text me on AOL. I'm on my computer at least 10 hours a day. I write 50 million letters or as many as I can. All right, in a day. So people, think about what I said. Watch it again. I'm sure it's not going to hurt you. You might get something out of it the second time because your mind doesn't retain that much information in any given time. In an hour, you're lucky if you remember 10 minutes. If I did 2 hours, you're lucky if you remember 10 minutes as well, because then it's just more stuff you're not going to remember. Unless you take notes. And people, please, it's a good thing to take notes, especially if it's pertaining to something that could help you, really help you. Not how many spaceships went by, how many cars were in an accident. None of those things are really going to help you. But the help I'm giving you can help you, and I promise that. So people, peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, don't stop until you get it, and don't ever stop. Because there's always another step you can take. Always! No matter how far you think you are, how spiritual you are, or whatever you think you are, there's always another step to take. And nobody is better than you, really. All right? How many understand or talk to God? I mean, a lot of people say they do. Does it do any good telling everybody that love's the most important thing? It isn't. It could be important. It could be one of the most important things, but not the most important thing. Because some people don't ever have love in their life. Does that mean they're useless beings? And there's a lot of things that happen to these beautiful, sweet young people that have problems. And there's all kinds of things going on. But until you experience things, will it matter? Death, your death experience, but learning how to get out of the body is really critical. All those things will help you grow and become more aware of the things you need to. So with that, again, peace, love, compassion. Don't stop. Don't look back. Keep moving forward. Till next time, that's Discourse 1, Death and Dying.